I thank you, Honourable Presiding Member. Sir, we are debating today's regulations at a time when the country has seen an unprecedented economic calamity, where the country has been pauperized, people have lost all their savings, and in that backdrop, the government is forced to negotiate with its lenders as well as with the IMF in order to try and reach agreements to bring the country out of this mess. Now, under these circumstances, Honourable Presiding Member, the President has also taken great pains to project an image where he, as a President, is also a unifying force. And he has been trying to project that image by announcing during the last budget debates and thereafter that he is going to also take on reconciliation, whereby the Tamils, the Muslims, the upcountry Tamils, all ethnic nationalities and groups who have had grievances with regards to the way this state has been formed over the last 70-odd years, their problems will also be resolved. And in that spirit, he called upon an all-party conference, and he's been projecting this image of being a peacemaker. So whilst this project of peacemaking is being projected, Honourable Presiding Member, there is also the complete opposite that is happening on the ground. And I want to give you 3 examples of how the Tamil people in the Northeast are having their existence and their identity destroyed. 3 very current examples, whilst the President goes out and gives this image that he wants to solve the long-standing ethnic conflict. My colleague, Honourable Selvaraja Gajendran, and myself have been getting reports, Honourable Presiding Member, that an archaeological site that was identified way back in 1933 under the British was being rebuilt, quote unquote. And when these complaints came, we went to the particular area and we checked. And as we suspected, the military with the archaeological department was doing something in a clandestine way. The matter was taken before court, and court ruled that that site must be preserved and must not be touched. No building must be done. There is a court order. And despite that, Honourable Presiding Member, just last week when my honourable friend and I visited the site, a totally new Buddhist vihara has been built there. In 1933, Honourable Presiding Member, when Kurundur Male was first identified as an archaeological reserve, that is exactly how it was named, an archaeological reserve. Almost 77 acres was identified as an archaeological reserve. Then in 2020, October, we have a letter by the archaeological department asking the surveyors department to go and measure this site. And during the month of November and December 2020, for the first time, the surveyors department goes to this area and carries out a survey. And after the survey, the surveyor, for the first time, identifies that site as the site of Kurindu Vihara. A surveyor, not the archaeological department. He writes back to the archaeological department. The department has not sent people to come and have a dig and to find out, in fact, what is that archaeological reserve. Before the archaeological department can even commence its work, the surveyors department has the expertise to identify that as Kurindu Vihara. And ever since then, Honorable Presiding Member, that identity of that place has been called into question. We have gone before court, we've got court orders preventing it, and despite that, we have a new Buddhist viharaya in an ancient Tamil worship site for centuries that the Tamils have been worshipping. Now, our problem is not if that in fact was a Buddhist ancient site, that it should not be recognized as such. We believe that there were Tamils who are Buddhist also. It is part of our own history. So if that was in fact an ancient Buddhist worship site, it must be protected. But where there are no Buddhists, instead of maintaining it as an archaeological site, to build a Buddhist viharaya there is very clearly having very, very sinister motives of colonizing that area. Now that is one example, Honorable Presiding Member. This is in Mullaitivu. A second example is in the livestock grazing lands of in Batiklo, the district adjoining yours, where in Mailathamadu and Madhavane, thousands of acres of grazing land has been identified as grazing land as such by the Mahinda Rajapaksa government in 2010 through a cabinet paper, where the paper has been approved. In fact, the last time I spoke about this, when this matter first cropped up, I gave the particulars of the cabinet paper that was approved. And what has been happening now, Honorable Presiding Member, is that the Madruoya Right Bank Development Scheme is underway. And for the development of the right bank, that entire grazing area of the Batiklo district that the Tamil people and Muslim people use is being ethnically cleansed. It's being ethnically cleansed. People from the Polonnaruwa district are being brought over to do corn cultivation as the first round. Now with the Madruoya Right Bank Development Scheme, those people have been asked to leave. They have been threatened. They've been threatened. When they use forest areas to come and graze, the forest department goes and arrests them, files cases against them, simply because they are using their livestock to come and graze in those areas.
Honourable Member, you have 2 more minutes.
And the people there are becoming disenfranchised, Honourable Presiding Member, and forced to leave their existence at a time when people are finding it impossible to make ends meet. So this is the sort of racist policies that are being pursued at a time when the President is trying to project to the whole world that he is a peacemaker. That he is a peacemaker. I also finally want to conclude by referring to something that is going on in the Jaffna district. The Jaffna district fishermen in the north are again under assault. Why? First it was the cucumber farming. The fisheries minister has handed over cucumber farming licenses to his cronies. Nobody knows who they are. The same person has 2-3 fields of farming in the sea, in the lagoon. And by doing so, Honourable Presiding Member, the local fishermen are completely disenfranchised. They are unable to do their fishing. And this same process of pauperizing the fishermen, who already have been suffering due to war, where they had bans on fishing for 30 odd years, is happening in a different way, where the same minister is now proposing that foreigners are able to come into the northern and eastern waters and fish. And the proposal is for 3 times of the week to start off with, for them to come and fish. We condemn this. If you look at the pattern, Honourable Presiding Member, it's attacking the very existence of these people.
Honourable Member, your time is over. Please wind up.
Identity, then goes towards economy. And disenfranchisement is a process by which this government proposes to ethnically cleanse those areas so that they can carry out their racist colonization projects. So it is in this backdrop, Honourable Presiding Member, that this country goes with a begging bowl asking for money. The foreign countries and the foreign entities that are hoping to help Sri Lanka must make it a condition, that the monies that they give, that the help that they give to get this country out of this mess is not used to pursue what is very clearly a racist agenda. Thank you, sir.